Welcome to Racing Alaska. Today we're going to go into the Alaskan backcountry and spend a night in sub-zero temperatures. Come along for a fun adventure. Well, everything's set up now. So a trail over there. And we're on a little island here. You can kind of see where it comes to a point down there. When things get bad, if you don't have a way to solve those problems, things could get really, really bad. And there's going to come a point in time when I'm going to be out somewhere and I'm going to get into trouble. Hopefully, I'll be able to get out of trouble. And part of that is just going out and doing this stuff here. And I won't say practicing because, you know, practicing you'd be in your barn where it's 50 degrees or something. I can guarantee you there's nobody camping out here right now. That's right at 100 pounds. And that is my wood stove. I tie it directly to the trailer. When you load a sled like this, you want the most amount of the weight to be in the back, and then it'll pull straight. You have most of the weight in the front, then it fishtails. I put a tarp down and put it underneath, so I'll put stuff on the tarp and then wrap the tarp around it. And it does a couple things. It keeps snow from getting in it, but it also then holds everything in so you don't have stuff falling out here as well. And these two totes are wood. It's a cot. That's my tent. Chair, a bag of clothes in the down here, and some food. So once I get this mesh net over it, then it stays pretty secure. And the next thing that I want to do then is get some ropes over it, and then I'll put some bungees on top of that. Okay, so this is all set. I'm gonna warm up my machine, get on my parka, get ready to roll. So I unloaded at a popular summer fishing spot, went down the boat ramp, and now we're on a river. The river's frozen. There's probably 20 inches of ice or so, and we're on the shallow bank. When I get up, we'll take a look and look at the cut bank here. You can see the steep bank over there, and it tapers off there, but the steep bank like that is the deep side, and so we're on the shallow side. So generally speaking, when you lay in winter trails like this, you run from shallow side to shallow side, and in the summer when you're boating, you generally run deep side to deep side. And so we're on the shallow side here, and we'll continue to run shallow sides for several miles now. is going to be to set the tent up right here, and then I'll be able to see the sun setting down here. And since this is a higher point than a lot of places, hopefully we'll get the sunrise too, and we'll be able to see the sunrise. Last year I camped kind of down on the river in a bend where realistically we were in a hole, and it seemed like the sun never really rose very much above the sky. So hopefully we'll get the sun up high, we'll be able to see well, get a good sunset out of this. So the first thing I'm doing is unloading my sled, because I have some plywood underneath here I need to get out. And even though this morning it was like -5, it's still cold. It's probably, that's -5 Fahrenheit. It's still cold, but this parka is super heavy. So I'm going to take it off and probably get cold enough to put it back on. This big footprint will give it some body underneath the tent. The H that's under there, the middle of it, really is the walkway in the tent, and the other two are spaced enough so I can set my cot on them so the cot doesn't sink in. And then also in this middle part, the stove will set in this middle part. Okay, so now what's left? I need to get the stove in here, and then I'll get the rain fly on it, and then start loading stuff into the tent. Alright, chimney's put in. I'm gonna finish staking this tent out, and then we'll get a fire started. Okay, so we got the tent all set up. We still have maybe an hour before the sun sets, so we're gonna run out for a ride and just have a look around to see what's out in the countryside, and then we'll be back to start a fire, make dinner, kick back for the night. starting to get a fire going finally. I'm going to put one big chunk of wood in here. And these things will burn really, really well here. Those in there. I'll split that down. Birch bark burns really well. Some of that I'm going to put in there. And then I'm going to put some dryer lint in there. Dryer lint burns super well. And then this is a commercial like waxy stick. And this is a really cool fire starter. Get that puppy going. See how well that dryer lint goes. So we're going to make this into a hot dog stick. And we're going to roast these big sausages I got in my wood stove. So it's plenty warm in here that I can sit here and enjoy the sun setting with the door open and still be warm. My Gatorade froze. So I set my tent up where there's really no wind break. And the wind has come up a little bit, so I guy wired it off to my snow machine and a bunch of things and added some guy wires. It should be fine. Gorgeous evening tonight. Wind's coming up a little bit though. You can see that I guyed my tent off here to my snow machine and to the trailer and everything. So this is the direction the wind's coming from, so hopefully that will hold it down. There's pros and cons of setting it up like I did. I set it up where I'd be able to see, where I could watch the sunset and hopefully watch the sunrise, but I'm out in the middle of nowhere where if the wind does come up, I'm going to get some wind. I don't think we're forecast for a ton of wind really, but to be honest with you, I didn't check. We haven't had a lot of wind lately, so and the wind's kind of blowing this direction here, and so it's not blowing into here. We'll see how it goes. The days are pretty short right now. I don't think we had sunrise till probably somewhere around 10, and it's probably 4 o'clock now would be my guess. Short days, but gorgeous time to be out. We've had a lot of cloudy, kind of icky days, and this weekend is forecast to be just like this and absolutely gorgeous. So I really want to take advantage of getting out and enjoying the backcountry. This is my first winter camping trip of the season, and so what that always means is hopefully you bring all your gear. What did you forget? So far I brought everything I needed, but we'll see if it turns up that I'm missing something. I mean, mainly I needed a tent, a stove, and some wood and fire and something to sleep in, so I've managed to get that. So if I did forget something, it's probably just an accessory that would be nice, but I have all the staples, and it really promises to be a pretty nice night. I'll turn in early, and unfortunately then I'll get up early and the sun's not going to come up till way late, but I'll piddle around in the morning. We'll see. Well, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning right now, and it got cold last night. Cold enough that I got a little cold in my sleeping bag. which is unusual. It's rated for -40. It didn't get to -40 last night. It probably got to about -10 would be my guess. We are forecast to get about that low, and it was cold. The other reason I let my fire go out last night, though, is I'm low on wood. I brought 2 totes of wood, which generally is plenty. I need to conserve wood, and so I only have so much wood right now that for sure will burn, so I'm trying to be judicious about that and put a little bit of birch in with it, and hopefully it will last until I want to go. If it doesn't, then it'll be time to go. And so the wood supply may actually determine when we leave. So we'll see how it goes here. I got some breakfast burritos that I made at home, and I put them in foil, and I'm just going to set them up here and roll them around and get them hot. I'll probably start breaking camp down and breaking stuff down and getting stuff put away so that in the event that I do need to leave in a hurry because I run out of wood, and I'll know because, you know, you put the last bit in and you're like, golly gee whiz. And so it's not like it's going to be poof and we have to leave. I'll have advance warning, but there's no point in just sitting around here. So I will start getting stuff ready. We have about 4 hours though until sunup, so I have a lot of time to sit here and pontificate. So it's warmed up in here considerably. It's like hot in here now. I put my sleeping bag away in here so I can kind of have a recliner. This is my new plan. I haven't had any coffee yet. I'm going to eat this burrito. I'm going to see if I can take a little bit of a nap. It seems like I think that I'm going to be able to make it until sunrise with the amount of wood that I have right now. I have less concerns than I did when I was inside my sleeping bag cold, wondering if I had enough wood. That probably makes sense, right? I'm going to go check out the sunrise here. Well, I've made a lot of progress since the last time we checked in. It's about 9:30 now. The sun's starting to come up. I went out and started my snow machine, which first thing in the morning in the way back like this always gives me pause, because if it fails to start, life is going to really get not so pleasant in a hurry. You can tell it was cold because it started real slow, but it started just fine. Last time we checked in was hours ago. So finally, it's time to have some coffee, finish my second burrito, which I just put under the stove. Been sitting under there. I think I'll move it to the top and get a little bit of heat on it here. And so we'll have breakfast and then start breaking down the tent, kind of step at a time, then come in and warm up, and step at a time and come in and warm up until all that's left is the rain fly with no stakes on it, because you can't take the rain fly off until you take the stovepipe out. We'll just kind of peck away at that, but first we get coffee going and make breakfast happen here. You know, the first sip of coffee in the morning is always the best sip of coffee. Pretty quiet night last night, but I will say I was a little worried. When I woke up and was cold, and I knew my fire was out because I'd let it go out, and I knew I was kind of on a wood ration because of my wood problem, I was quite concerned. You know, there's a lesson to be learned in there, right? I have a pile of wood that is just birch that I've been saving for winter camping, and got a whole big giant stock of it. And so this is the first time I've taken it out, and I didn't burn any at home to make sure it was good or not. And it will be good next season. It's just not really great wood right now. It needs another season to age. That was my own fault, hopefully. I learned a lesson in that. I should have checked that wood. And so I was worried about the wood situation, although I still have a couple 3 sticks of wood, and I will not burn all of that tonight. A couple 3 sticks of spruce. This is spruce here. And this is the birch. And you can see it's got different bark on it, and it's a whiter wood. This piece is really, really heavy. And when I was loading it up, I should have recognized, golly gee whiz, this is heavier than it should be. It still has moisture in it, and it just hasn't seasoned up well. Lesson in there for anyone who's paying attention. That's me, really. So hopefully I don't do that one again. But plenty of wood to make it through the day. I've already started taking down some of the tent. I took stakes out, and I'll take some more stakes out here. I don't want to get my gloves. I'm going to be wearing back snow machining wet. I have other gloves, but I was just doing it barehanded. And so as soon as your hands get wet or cold, come in, warm them up, right? I mean, that's what having a fire the first thing in the morning is about anyway. So kick back here, hit it again in a little bit. This is why I go out here. Look at this. It's absolutely gorgeous this morning. Can you hear a sound other than me? This is awesome. Taking the poles apart is just about the worst part of this whole deal because they're so cold. Sometimes they freeze up right in this top joint right here, but so far today I've been lucky with that. I'm trying to fold up all of the tent. It won't go back in the bags very easily, and I'm not going to work that hard, but I want to get it folded up so that I can, pack it away. With that done, then I can put my boards back down at the bottom of my sled and pack my sled. Okay, I got it all tied down. Now I just have to back my snow machine up and hook it up.